However, before they flew to the sky, the tortoise asked them to choose a ceremonial name by which they would be referred, to ensure that they didn't get confused about whose food was which. The birds thought it was a very good idea, and they all chose a name. When the tortoise was asked what name he wanted to be called, he said, "My name will be all of you," he said, smiling sheepishly. How the tortoise broke his shell. Once upon a time, in the days of the old, when animals and humans lived in their own separate kingdoms, birds, horses, lions, and all sorts of animals lived in harmony. They built their own homes and governed themselves. The tortoise was considered one of the smartest animals as well as the most cunning. The tortoise was very proud of its smooth shell, and he always flaunted it at any opportunity he got. Everything was well in the animal kingdom, and every animal lived together in harmony. However, this utopia didn't last very long. Like an arrow fired without warning, a famine struck the animal kingdom, affecting every one of the animals. The animals all starved and soon began to look very lean from malnourishment. Every animal struggled to survive except the birds. While the other animals lost weight dramatically, the birds continued to look round and fat. The tortoise, with his superior intellect and keen sense of observation, noticed that the birds were not starving like the rest of them, and he decided to find out from the birds how they were able to still look well fed in the middle of a horrible famine. One day, the tortoise went to the birds and asked them how they were managing to look well fed. But the birds refused to answer. They pointed out to the tortoise his cunningness and why his knowledge of their food source might pose a threat to them. The tortoise, however, was not one to give up easily. Every day, he would go to the birds and plead with them, promising not to play any tricks. He even promised not to disclose their secret to the other animals. The birds finally listened to his plea and agreed to tell him the source of their food. They told him that a feast was held up in the sky every day by the masters of the sky, and they usually gave food to any animal who could make it up there. The tortoise was wide-eyed as he heard this. The tortoise gave it a deep thought and realized that only animals that could fly could make it up to the sky for this feast. But he very evidently had no wings and could therefore not make it. Out of nowhere, the tortoise turned around in excitement and said, "I have an idea. If every one of you can lend me a feather to attach to my arm, I would be able to fly with you to the sky the next time you go for food. Please, help me. I only need enough food for me and my wife." The birds thought about it for a while and decided to donate a feather from their wings to him, eventually helping him form his own wings. However, before they flew to the sky, the tortoise asked them to choose a ceremonial name by which they would be referred, to ensure that they didn't get confused about whose food was which. The birds thought it was a very good idea, and they all chose a name. When the tortoise was asked what name he wanted to be called, he said, "My name will be all of you," he said, smiling sheepishly. The birds all agreed, and the next day, they flew to the sky for the feast. On arriving at the sky, they were welcomed by the masters of the sky. These heavenly creatures had no face, but had a body and a mouth, and they glowed brightly. When they arrived at the table where the banquet was served, the tortoise turned to the sky master who hosted them and said, "Please, "Who does this food belong to?" The Sky Master replied with a smile, "This food belongs to all of you," it said in an ethereal voice. The tortoise immediately turned around, grinning from ear to ear as he reminded them that his ceremonial name was all of you, and this meant that all of the food belonged to him. The tortoise proceeded to eat all the food at the feast and did not stop until his belly was smooth and his shell shined brightly. The greediness exhibited by the tortoise angered the birds, and this made them all request for him to return the feathers they lent him, leaving him wingless. Before they all took flight, the tortoise begged them to tell his wife to bring out all the softest materials in their house and place them outside so he could land safely on it. The birds agreed to do this for him as a final favor. However, when they arrived at his house, the vulture changed the message delivered to the tortoise wife. He said, "Your husband told me to tell you to bring out all the strong and hard materials in the house out in the open, and he needs you to do it now." The tortoise wife immediately got to work and brought out cutlasses, hoes, dang guns, large pots, and so on. Since the tortoise could not see well from the sky, he assumed his wife was bringing out the soft things in the house. When he saw that she had finished, he leaped out of the sky with confidence. In a few minutes, a loud thud was heard as the tortoise crashed into the hard material below, shattering his smooth shell into several pieces. The best healer in the animal kingdom, the blind monkey, was called to help put his shell together. However, it never remained smooth again, and to help him heal, pieces of his wife's shell had to be collected as well to help fix the tortoise shell. This is why to this day, both the tortoise and his wife have a broken shell. This story is a pungent reminder of the dangers of greediness and the consequences of repaying kindness with sheer wickedness. The tortoise was never invited to the feast again, and his shell and his wife's shell were forever cracked. The end. We hope you enjoyed the story you just watched. Please subscribe to our channel and like this video, as it helps us create more videos like this for you to enjoy. Thank you.